Hi, welcome to today's episode. I've chosen the song Unpretty by TLC as the theme for today. And as you can tell, it's about confidence and feeling pretty in yourself, or maybe not. Let's dive in. Hi, B-siders. Thanks for tuning in to this topic today, which is all about Unpretty. And I recognize that probably a lot of you will feel and resonate a lot with this topic. Before I go into my own personal story around this whole Unpretty thing, I'd love to share a little bit of background on the song that I've picked today. So as I said, the song is Unpretty by TLC, which is an R&B trio from the 90s. They were hugely successful with other songs. Unpretty is one of the most famous. They also have others like Waterfall, if you remember that. I'm sure you will if you're from that time, and if not, I would think hop on Spotify and Google it. But if you hear it, you will know. But Unpretty is the song I'm focusing on today. I did a little bit of digging and I was amazed to see that it's actually based on a poem that T-Bars wrote when she went through a time where she was feeling really sick and unhealthy, and apparently was in hospital and also came out of hospital, and in a way didn't feel pretty enough for the world, for her boyfriend, just generally probably dealing with a lot of down and out moments. So that's when she wrote a poem that she called Unpretty, and that then turned into a song. And this song is probably one of the most famous songs for us women out there who grew up in the 80s and 90s. These days we have Beyonce, who talks a lot for us women out there in this day and age. But back then it was TLC, and Unpretty really was the first song that really highlighted the struggle that women go through, especially from an image perspective, self-image, and also these unrealistic perceptions around the beauty. And TLC really made an enormously wonderful effort to not just have this song, but also the video that goes with it. And the video is pretty intense, I find, but also very eye-opening for anyone that, you know, feels like they're on their own in this. And it really conveys the struggle around self-esteem, self-acceptance, self-love, and also self-worth. But I do think the overall message that TLC wanted to convey with Unpretty was, it doesn't have to be that way. They wanted to create a positive impact by creating this song and also the video that goes with it. And I remember it very well because it really hit me hard when I first heard it and also seen it. And that brings me to the more personal aspect of this episode, why I've picked this song. And boy, I could probably ramble on and share so many different things and stories around the whole Unpretty thing for me, but I feel strongly that this song is so relevant still, sadly, I have to say, sadly, maybe even more than back then. I'm Generation X. I grew up in 80s and 90s, and whilst image and the way we looked and the way we carried ourselves was kind of big, I do feel in this day and age, it's just gone too far. It's gone above and beyond what I find healthy and what I find acceptable. And I don't think it's necessarily on a specific age group that feels this. I believe women walk through life generally always being judged around that, always being confronted with this whole Unpretty image, this whole Unpretty stigma. And I just cannot understand why. I guess social conditioning plays a huge part in that, the way over time, and it hasn't started in the 80s or 90s. I guess it goes way back when, for some reason, women felt or believed that being pretty is a way to live their life in a more positive way. I'm not very obviously educated and around the whole, when this whole thing started. So if someone has more knowledge around that, please share it with me. But I just feel like ever since I remember, women were there to look pretty. They weren't there to have a brain. They weren't there to do good in the world outside maybe the house or whatever. I know this has changed greatly over the years, and I'm really grateful for that. I know we've made a lot of advances. Women seem to have more rights. They seem to have more opportunities. They seem to have more power and impact. Yet why do we still struggle with this whole unpretty thing? Don't you ever stop and think about that? I don't know. It's just something that really has come to me, especially over the last month, because I was feeling really unwell. I had this nasty head cold I couldn't shift. So you spent more time in bed, and you think about your life a little bit more. And I know if you've been following along my journey, you know that my self-confidence is not the best. I don't feel pretty all the time. I don't hold myself in high regard constantly. I gone through bouts of depression. There were, and still are, really a lot of aspects in my life that aren't pretty, you know. And that's when it starts to infiltrate in your own personal space, where you start to doubt yourself. You just go into this downward spiral, and then the external influences come thick and fast. So if you don't protect yourself from that, if you don't have a healthy way of loving yourself, that's when this whole unpretty thing really kicks your ass. And I admit it, I've never in my life truly felt happy with who I am and how I look. And that was a big, big thinking part during the last sort of month when I was feeling poorly. And I just can't understand it. The mentality we have as women is crazy. Is it because Instagram and Facebook, these other ladies who seem to have this beautiful body, this pretty face, the hair's fantastic, they're living this amazing life. And then I might look at my life and go, I don't have a flat belly. I don't have this slim face that, apparently is so wonderful that a lot of females have. And this whole judging myself against others comes out. And I really started to think about it a lot more. Why is it like that? Why am I thinking like this? Have I been socially so conditioned to compare myself to others? And it's not just when you're a teenager. I believe it's every step of your female life. We judge ourselves so harshly. And also when you go to the sort of next phase of your life, you go through puberty, then you have your adulthood, and then you hit your 40s or 50s and you realize your body's changing again. Yet there's other females that look so perfect going through these changes in your 40s and 50s. Why is my body not doing that? It's exhausting. It's just so exhausting. And I'm sure you can relate to some degree. And I'm certain that even those ladies and females and these inspiring, wonderful looking ladies out there who have the six pack, who seem to have it all, right? They will still have their doubts. They might still think they're unpretty. But I don't see that. And that's been kind of bugging me a lot. And the other thing that I'm starting to realize and really working consciously on is my life's my life. And whilst my life might be a bit more difficult to handle at times, I'm doing the best I can. And my body's basically, I wouldn't say a result of what I'm going through, but it's like, what do you call it? A compass or I can't think of the word, but it's like you can take stock of where you're at or where I'm at in life by looking at myself. Self-care, self-love, what I'm eating, how I'm treating myself. That's not just coming or happening just because, but it's because of what's going on in my life and how I'm maybe prioritizing myself too. And for those of you who've gone through depression or bouts of feeling really down and out, they know self-care, when you're in that moment, you're not doing it. It's on the back burner. Even if you have a family and you're not in depression and you might have kids or you have a busy job, there will be phases where you're not looking after yourself as much as you should. Unpretty. It's just such a wonderful song where they really dive deep into the psyche, I guess, of us females in this world where if you have a bit of a belly like I do, I am not slim by far, and I'm being here really vulnerable here. I've put on a bit of weight since I've hit the late 40s, right? And it's the natural way that, your body's changing. And fair enough, I probably could do more to look after my body, but my life's challenging and has been for at least the last 6 years. So I might not be always able to do that. But does that justify me feeling unpretty? Does that justify me beating myself up so badly about all of this? Does that justify me comparing myself to others when I don't even know what's going on in their life? Guys, I tell you, it sucks. It just sucks. And mentally, that really can take its toll because it does. The world still is a lot about visuals, about looking a certain way, about having certain abilities, behaving a certain way. Thankfully, we have made advances. I'm not all negative here, by no means. But I also feel that it's not as good as it could be. And I truly believe that us women should really encourage each other and say, you know what? You might have a bit of a belly, but it doesn't matter. You still look amazing. Have a bit more confidence in yourself. If you're concerned about it, let's go shopping together and buy you some clothes that make you feel empowered. Let's work on this together. Let's support each other. And let's not let the world as it is and the requirements put on us by others, and I guess in a way it probably is put on by men to a large degree, but I also think us women are equally guilty of doing so. So maybe if we talk about this whole feeling of unpretty a bit more and are a little bit more vulnerable around that, we can start to change that. So yeah, I don't feel pretty. I don't feel happy about myself. And most days I don't like myself. You wouldn't think so because I hop on a podcast, I chat to all these amazing people, but to be honest, at this point in time, I don't like myself. I don't feel very pretty. I try to make an effort now and then. I try to work on my mindset. I try to work through all this stuff, but it's freaking hard, especially when you live in an environment where this prettiness gets attacked, where you get questioned. And it's not just about the looks, it's about your character as well. And a lot of us live that way. And we can't change our environment just like that. It's not doable. It's easy for others to say, well, just change your environment. I call that BS. And that has an impact on us feeling our best, us feeling amazing in ourselves. And that's mind, body, spirit. And that's when it's nice to be able to share that with the world like I do today. it doesn't mean I don't have days or weeks where I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm fine. I actually kind of like myself today. But it would be nice if I could feel like that a bit more on a stable level, if that makes sense, where I don't constantly feel like I'm attacked by my life without delving into that too much, and also by external forces. And I hate when people say, well, you just got to work on your mindset and you just got to kind of toughen up. And why are you thinking like this? Because we're humans and it happens. And yes, we work on ourselves, but sometimes you go forward and then you go back. Wounds might heal, but the scars are still there and they itch. So, yeah, at this point in time, I might not feel very pretty. I might not really like myself that much, but I'm working on it. I'm being gentle with myself. And I'm created this awareness that it won't always be like that. That I have the strength within me to change what I want to change. And that I can be comfortable in my skin the way it is right now. And work on where I know I want to be. A healthier me. I know I'm not as healthy as I could be. A happier me. And a me that actually feels like I'm pretty. Because I look at myself in the mirror and say, gee, B, you look stunning today. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you today because I feel it really is an important topic that we still haven't quite managed to deal with. And I just want to be vulnerable with you guys and put that out there saying, it's not a weakness to go out there and say, I feel like this. I don't like myself. And that's okay. Because with awareness, I can start to live with it and change it. And I also want us to talk about this a bit more, especially when you're in your 40s, especially when you're in your 50s. Because freaking hell, life doesn't end when we're at that age, but it still kind of feels that way because we were not being taught enough about what happens to us and our bodies, especially when we hit that age. Everyone talks about puberty. Hardly anyone talks about menopause and whatever else comes with it. But that is a topic for another day. I just wanted to cover every age today because we all will feel unpretty a lot in our life. But I really want to talk about the why and want you to think about your why if you feel unpretty. And I hope that we can slowly start to change this. And even if we still feel unpretty, that the pressures on us from whichever source it comes is not as heavy. And that the support is there for us to get out of that and back into that loving look that we have for ourselves when we look in the mirror. Thanks, B-siders. I know it sounds a bit like a heavy episode today, but I really wanted to share it with you, and I hope you get something out of it. And even if that is you running to a mirror now and saying to yourself, I'm pretty and I love myself and I will get through this unpretty phase. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really love if you could give it a like, leave me a review, or share it with someone that you feel could benefit from today's episode. I will leave you today with much music and love. Until next time, bye, B-siders. Bye-bye.